Hello, Snips. I didn't expect to see you so soon. Hello, Anaheim. Hello, Star Wars Celebration. It's our own little world
Hello,
between
Snips.
worlds podcast between podcasts or pod racers. Now this is podcasting. I don't know. Anakin is stuck in between space and time.
Yeah.
All space and time is there, so he's saying young Annie lines. Well, in Anaheim
Right.
at
I'll
Star
try
Wars
World Between
Celebration.
While in Anaheim.
That sounds like a cool trick.
Universes.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back, Force family, to Star Wars Guys podcast. We are your host, as always, Mike.
Hello there.
Myself, Nate. Hello there. And you know him well.
Anakin.
Uncle. Oh. Yeah, we know him well. Anakin.
I wanted Uncle to have
Hello
a
there.
nice face filter on today and just be
It's
sitting
just
there.
de-aged.
This is 15-year-old Uncle today.
Awesome.
He's very nice and smooth. He's sitting there.
Welcome back. We're excited to get into it. Another Ahsoka
Not
review.
much to talk about.
This
no,
will be a
not
quick
much
one.
to talk about in this one. No, not
This
a
is
lot.
the second annual, second weekly breakfast with the Star Wars guys.
That's true.
It is.
Our early morning cast.
It is.
So you got your eggs, you got your toast.
Get your
You
coffee.
listen to your podcast you
Yeah.
love the most. Hey-oh!
Oh, hey.
Coffee.
No.
I worked on that for 45 minutes this morning.
Hey,
Great. That should have been
we're
the
excited to
opening
get
quote.
into it. Ahsoka episode 4. Yeah, let's just dive in because there's a lot to get to in a short amount of time.
The
Overall
Fallen
thoughts?
Jedi.
Fallen,
The Fallen-
They tricked us.
Yes,
Yes.
the Fallen
Could
Jedi.
be
Fallen
taken a
Jedi.
lot of different ways.
I
Could
think
be.
all three of us
This
at
way,
first
that way.
assumed Mace Windu was coming back.
Mace. That's right.
Absolutely.
Let's see if our prediction
Literally
finally would
the
come
Fallen.
true.
It's all about just Jedi
It's
who
the
have
fall.
fallen.
Mace somewhere is like, okay, so when you fall, someone can save you and pull you out of space and time? Where? Why nobody come for me?
Qui-Gon and Mace are really getting a bad rap here.
I was rewatching.
Qui-Gon's everybody's getting stabbed, and Qui-Gon's like, why can't
Not
I
to-
live?
Not to derail us because I want to get to overall thoughts, but the Qui-Gon Maul fight, my son Isaiah, I don't know if it's good or bad parenting. He's 2 years old, so of course,
Yeah.
naturally, we've been watching a lot of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
He loves
Yeah,
lightsaber.
true.
He loves lightsaber fights, and every time he wants like me to pull up some YouTube clips, and it's like, oh, here's the 5-minute compilation of Maul versus Qui-Gon.
Went straight
And
to
when
the dark.
Qui-Gon gets cut
Right.
in the belly, and I'm like, I'm not sure if Isaiah should be watching this, but and then Qui-Gon falls over, and Isaiah every time goes, Qui-Gon fall down? Like, yeah, buddy, he's fall down, and then he doesn't get back up. But it's funny because when you watch the scene now and you know what ends up happening with some of the other characters and Inquisitors that have been stabbed, but then watching that exact scene and you go, man, Qui-Gon gets stabbed and Maul gets chopped
Cut
in
in
half. Isaiah, guess which of these two survive? It's the one who loses their legs
Right.
And falls.
and falls. Yeah, it's the fall killed Palpatine. The body wounds have killed
Yeah.
Qui-Gon and others.
Straight through the gut.
Maul goes, I
Neither
want to see the
killed Maul.
worst fall and the worst body injury you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I will come back with spider
Coming
legs,
back.
and then I'll roll Mandalore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll
Overall
roll
thoughts on this episode, though, because that had nothing to do with that.
It's fantastic. I loved it.
We
All
haven't
of it.
talked about it
Not
yet.
just the ending, but I enjoyed all of it. And there's other moments that we'll get. Obviously, the big moments at the very end we'll talk a lot about. But there were other moments specifically, and I know we discussed a little bit on the phone when you called me. But
Oh, yeah, I did call.
there's a few things throughout the episode that I was watching, and just while watching, I was like, man, this is just so cool to see right now. And that was before even getting to all the stuff at the end. Loved it.
Cool. Overall thoughts?
Totally, completely caught me by surprise.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
our predictions.
It wasn't that.
We did
I
predict.
think we said there wasn't going to be World Between Worlds left.
We
last
did,
episode,
but that was
so
one of
like-
our choices. We had
Yeah.
3. We
Yeah.
predicted.
Oh, yeah.
We predicted we'd see Anakin,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we voted. We had Force Ghosts was I think 2. Flashback
Flashback.
was 1. World Between Worlds was the other choice,
It
Yeah.
was.
and none of us picked it because why would they do that?
It didn't feel
No,
like because why would they do that?
It's not like somebody died.
And well, what's funny is the World Between Worlds thing, and when we were suggesting those, at least I can speak for myself. I think that when I was suggesting it, I was thinking of Ahsoka enters the world between worlds,
Right.
Yeah.
and she goes through one of the portals.
And that felt
Yeah.
like it would
Find
take more
Anakin.
time to set up.
Right.
And that she would have to go in there, and that she would, and for some reason, she would go and she would see Anakin through one of the things.
Yeah.
Did not think the reverse would happen, that she would get pulled into it, not know, well, like, she knew where she was because she'd been there before, but she was like,
Right.
well, how did I get here? So we're like, oh, she didn't do that intentionally. She doesn't know where she is. And then it's behind her, hello, Snips. I didn't
Hello,
think I'd see you this soon. And I was like, wait, now that's not even Force Ghost Anakin. That's
No, that's
Anakin
Angel.
in the
Actually,
flesh.
Anakin.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so your overall thoughts? You were surprised for sure.
Unbelievable.
A surprise to be sure.
Unbelievable.
Surprise.
As Palpatine would
I
say.
didn't. I mean, there were so many things I just thought were fantastic. Did not
Yeah.
expect a full-on saber encounter yet with the
Yes.
with the, all of them
All of them.
basically.
Yeah.
I mean, Sabine and the choice that she had to make.
Oh,
it's one
yeah.
of my favorite parts
Like
to talk
what
about.
in the
this.
world? All of them had a moment. Carson Teva,
Carson.
Oh, yeah, Carson.
Hera,
Hera.
of course, disobeying. She's not going to stand by.
No.
him. I mean, it was
No.
fantastic.
I loved Hera's, we're already here.
I know.
I love
that,
it.
'cause
Oh, that
that's
was just-
that's
oh,
so
we're here,
rebel.
yeah.
Yep, we're already here.
We're already here.
It did not seem like 40 minutes. It was, well, less, including
Yeah.
credits. It was
It felt like a lot happened
It
for
did.
sure.
it's amazing.
I also just completely loved this episode. I think that this is one of my. I mean, it always is. I try not to have quick overreactions. This is the greatest thing on film I've ever seen in my life.
Apart from Gene's guy, this is
sort of from Gene's guy.
this is the best.
This is it.
Gene,
ever.
yeah.
No, I was blown away by this episode, and I think one of the brief things Nate and I had talked about on the phone, because we didn't want to get too much into the episode, but was just one thing I love about this episode so much is that I think this episode would have still been, for me, my favorite episode of this season so far, even without the big reveal at the end. So meaning there was like, it's not like it
Yeah.
was like an average okay episode, but guess what? We're gonna have a moment at the end that's gonna have
Mhm.
everybody talking. It was, there were things that called upon other I mean, when they're in the woods, that was very much felt Empire. When
Yeah.
they're in space and then they're stuck and then they're the Minox are there, it had that like feel, trying to fix the ship, that type of a feel. Except instead of on an asteroid, they're
Mhm.
or instead of in a worm monster's mouth on an asteroid,
Yeah.
they're in the woods and they're repairing the ship. You had a little bit of that type of a vibe to it, or even a little bit of Mando, Grogu, frozen ice planet, ice spiders. They're repairing the ship before they can get out. So it had those vibes, but then also had a lot of answers. I always love episodes of these Star Wars shows that reveal things about the characters, but also have like, lore characters of you knew so and so. I didn't know you knew that much about them, or like I love the interactions between Baylan and Ahsoka, obviously, and when they're talking about Anakin, and there was a classic like Ahsoka burn of like,
Funny.
talking about everyone knew Anakin Skywalker, and he talks about knowing it. Anakin spoke highly of you. Interesting. He never mentioned you. Like
Yeah,
that's
I love
that was good.
Jenna Gravis.
Shorter than I expected.
You're shorter than I expected.
But I loved it.
Jenna
But
Gravis.
maybe my favorite things, even though I love the big ending, and we'll talk about that, is the dilemmas. And I think they're setting up another dilemma possibly in this with that last kind of final beat of the Vader bum 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 bum. I know people
That's
have
right.
different interpretations of, does that mean maybe don't trust this version of Anakin we're seeing because maybe there's something force manipulating going on, like that there's something evil behind this? Or like my thoughts are maybe, this is also leading to Ahsoka now has to
This guy's diving right in.
do it. We'll get to this later, but I think she has now a dilemma of her own because she learned through her interactions with Ezra in the World Between Worlds that you can't save everyone. You can't save Kanan. There are
Shouldn't.
things that happen that you shouldn't because
Yeah.
they'll have these effects that you pull Kanan out, boom, 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 a bunch of other things happen. She might now she's seeing a pre-Vader Anakin, and how is she not going to be tempted to want to save him and want to tell him, hey, this is what's coming, like this is your future, and not intervene?
I have a theory about that
So
I want
that's
to share with you.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Do we want to jump into this little thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took us a little there already.
So I thought about this, and so World Between Worlds. We've mentioned this before. In Rebels, Ezra Bridger makes his way into this temple and discovers these pathways, and they're gateways that lead to moments in time that you can actually interact with and bring people out. And he saves Ahsoka in this moment, and then they had this discussion about what's right, what's wrong about this. So my theory is that what if my daughter poked a hole in this? What if somewhere in the past, Anakin actually discovered World Between Worlds before Ezra did,
yeah,
and he's there and sees this moment with Ahsoka and decides that he's going to pull her out of this potentially deadly moment
yeah,
and save her. And this long before Ezra ever discovered it, and it was the thing
yeah.
that began the path. Well, part of other things, but led Anakin closer to turning to the dark side.
I like it.
And it's a moment in history,
Yeah,
but it's something that Anakin has stepped into before and has dabbled with.
I like that.
Yeah.
So on that same note, does that mean do we all think that Anakin is the one who actually pulled her in there? Like, meaning they show Anakin right away. Are we? I guess we'll find out next episode. 'Cause I think the whole next
that's what
episode,
I'm asking.
the whole next episode. Well, the next episode is directed by Dave Filoni, and I would not be surprised in the slightest if the majority, if not almost all, of the next episode is going to be Anakin and Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds, discussing things, having conversations,
Seeing different moments.
seeing different
in
moments
time.
of time.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a really just off the walls kind of in the best Filoni possible way.
So that's
of
how
what
we
they
see
can do.
Ezra possibly
So
too.
that could be.
in those
There's
portals.
theories that maybe they can reach, maybe they can pull Ezra out of whatever situation he's in and get him into the World Between Worlds before Baylan and everyone can get there.
Man.
So they save Ezra, but Baylan gets there and gets Thrawn. So both sides get what they want. Now they have Ezra back, but now Thrawn is regrouping and they're
they've got
coming back.
Sabine.
And they've coming back with Sabine as a prisoner. I don't know.
Have you guys read the
this
other
is just-
theories about this? Have you been reading?
I haven't read a lot of other theories, but Mike touched on one of the theories I was having. I would say, if I had to guess what I think is most likely, that I would say it's actually Anakin, Clone Wars era.
Mhm.
Yeah, not a Force ghost.
Not a Force
Right.
ghost,
Anakin in the
not
flesh,
a
'cause
dark
it looks like it.
thing. It's actually Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalker. He's in the World Between Worlds. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how he got there. I don't know how they're going to make sense of that
Mhm.
in the timeline-wise, because as far as we know, up until this point, he never knew about the World Between Worlds, at least not
That
while
we
he was
heard.
Anakin.
Exactly.
Not until Vader.
Yeah.
So I think that would be most likely. But because of the little hint of the Vader music at the end, just a fun theory would be if it's consistent with what the information we've gathered so far, and that Anakin really never knew about the World Between Worlds, as far as we know.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he didn't.
Right.
Just from what we've
From
seen.
what we've seen.
He never knew about it, but we do know Darth Vader does. One, because, well, the Emperor did
Mm-hmm.
in Rebels. But two, he also
Experienced it from the other side.
experiences it from the other side as he's fighting Ahsoka, and Ahsoka gets pulled out. So there's a part of me that wonders, just cool theory, wise, going, if that was the beginning of his hunt to, I need to learn about this place, the World Between Worlds. Where did she go? And like hunting her down basically after that battle.
Yeah.
And that leads him to this moment of either him being in the World Between Worlds physically or figuring out a way to connect with the World Between Worlds through like a force projection to project Anakin as a lure for Ahsoka to come basically on his side. Because he doesn't want her to die, or else he wouldn't have just pulled her out.
Yeah.
But wanting her to come back and basically be like, try to recruit her as all Sith do, to be an apprentice to take down the Emperor or whatever, overthrow. I think that'd be a cool theory. I don't think that's what's most likely. I think that's most likely Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And he had gotten in there somehow, and they'll maybe explain it. But while he's there, he sees Snips in this moment falling, and kind of like Ezra, out of instinct, pulls her out versus Vader.
Yep.
he pulls her out to help her, and that would make sense as to why he says, "I didn't expect to see you so soon," because he's wearing all of the Clone Wars attire.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't
So,
been gone
to
from
me,
it
it
for a
right
makes
while.
me think. It makes me think this might be a time for Anakin's timeline. Shortly after Ahsoka just left the Order, like Ahsoka just leaves the Order, and Anakin's thinking, "I might never see her again."
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after that, this happens, and he's thinking, I didn't expect to see you so soon."
Mm-hmm.
Which is also funny though if he's like soon after that. Like I love the line because it seems like, oh, this seems like by like chance I didn't expect to see you so soon. But then also it's like, wait, but Anakin, did you walk into the world between worlds? Like you can see a ton of stuff in here. So
Mhm.
I like the idea that I
The
Well,
only
I
other
also-
reason I
next-
say the Force projection thing too is because we know that when Ezra was at the Jedi Temple, and he's like having
Palpatine.
when Ezra is at the Jedi Temple and he has an encounter with Yoda,
Mm-hmm.
and he enters the world between worlds. Whether he actually enters it physically, he's there on his knees, and Yoda appears as a projection, not physically there,
Yeah.
but as a projection, and speaks to him, and they're in the
Yeah.
world between worlds.
Yeah.
So we know that it's possible.
That's
Well,
yeah.
and we've shown I was going to say is Palpatine, who obviously obviously is the master of Vader. We've seen Palpatine in Rebels, and that Filoni's done this of Palpatine projecting Senator Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine after he's already been destroyed
Mhm.
facially and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And so we know that he's able to manipulate what people can see because he did that to Lure Ezra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ezra, my boy, this and this, and then do it. And like
Yeah.
he went,
And
he was
Exactly.
already post
Yeah.
his battle with Mace Windu and all of that.
and
but
even
was
though he couldn't
projecting
enter the
them.
world between worlds, he was able to use, the
his lightning
the
chased him around.
lightning
like his,
fire,
his,
basically,
like,
that was
blue lightning
entered the
fire
world.
was chasing Ezra.
So we
and
know that
Ahsoka.
he was able to get some sort
Yeah.
of force abilities on the other side.
Oh man.
So many questions. I'm hoping it's all a positive version of this.
Yeah.
I am too.
That he's going to be an ally somehow,
Mhm.
not necessarily in the real world, but
Yeah.
that speech we heard in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
You
that's
face more than just droids.
part of
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or I don't. And it could be a projection too. You know,
So
I think
does that mean young Anakin is talking to Ahsoka about a battle with Thrawn?
About what's
saying,
going
You're
on."
gonna face more than just.
It could be. I mean, that's.
because he's seen it. If
And
he's-
then
if he's in there.
she's gonna be
Crazy.
tempted to
It's
say
real.
yes, and you're gonna face this opera scene. Unfortunately,
I also
It's going to
wonder
change
though.
your
I've
life.
always wondered.
Don't go to the opera.
Don't go.
Don't
'Cause
go to the opera.
I went back and watched one. I'm excited for the next episode with the World Between Worlds. Just hearing what audio clips they put in it.
Yeah.
Because every time we've seen the World Between Worlds, you hear I went back and watched the scene in Rebels where Ezra's pulls out
There's more there.
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And
Listening.
while Ezra's in there, you hear Filoni threw in clips from
He threw in Rey.
everything. There's Rey.
Mhm.
There's Kylo going, "I will finish what you started," and then there's you can hear even Jyn Erso talking, and so it's like at all these different moments, and for them that's in the future or some of it's in the past.
That's right.
But you hear all these different things. I wonder what we'll hear in this while they're there, just like as the audio, different dialogue of moments in time, and then obviously what moments they see. Because
Mhm.
when Ezra's in there, he's looking around, and he sees different moments. But I've always wondered with the World Between Worlds, because we've seen so little of it, what all someone in there can see. Is it only moments that are maybe attracted to you at that time? Like, can Anakin enter that and just, like, is he going to see a moment of him in his future as Vader? Or is it, like, different moments? Like, in this time, he's Clone Wars era. Ahsoka means a lot to him because it's Padawan.
Yeah.
And so he so the Force works in a way that it draws moments of things he's thinking about of
Mhm.
Ahsoka. He wouldn't be thinking about becoming Darth Vader at that time,
No.
so that wouldn't appear to him.
Yeah.
That's right.
That vision may not appear to him.
Yeah.
He may not see that or know that, but he would be thinking potentially of Ahsoka as his Padawan. And so these moments of Ahsoka show, because like when Ezra's in there, he's thinking
Maybe.
of the crew and Kanan, who he just watched and left, and now he's in the World Between Worlds. And so those moments are the ones that are coming to him.
Maybe.
So I don't know.
We could do a whole
It's,
podcast episode on just speculating on this
Yeah.
World Between Worlds because it's.
It
I
might
love
be good
that-
to explain a little bit of what the World Between Worlds are.
Yeah,
For
well,
anybody.
I think
I
I think
mentioned
we're gonna
it.
get that. I think we're gonna get that next episode as far as
Yeah.
in
Well,
episode.
think about if you hadn't seen any of those other shows.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I
When
mean.
you just if you just stand up and you're on a pathway in darkness, like why is he?
How's
Because I
Anakin?
saw a lot of people
Yeah.
who
Is
probably
this- did
hadn't
they go
seen
back
Rebels.
in time?
A lot of people
Yeah.
who probably
Are they
hadn't seen
dead?
Rebels were like, "Yeah, is this? Did she actually die? Is that the afterlife or
Mhm.
something?" And that's why she sees Anakin.
Yeah.
Anakin's already dead.
Which means I didn't expect to see you so soon. I didn't think you'd be dead.
You'd
no.
be dead. And I did see
Yes.
people saying that.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, he said that because he wasn't expecting her to be dead at this point.
Mhm.
If
But-
so, if that were
yeah.
the case, he says that in a pretty cheerful way.
He
Oh,
did.
Snips, I didn't expect to see it die so soon.
I know.
It's like, whoa.
That's true. But for those that are wondering, it's not
Yeah,
an
it's-
afterlife.
Yeah.
It's not a
not.
Star Wars afterlife. That would be the Force.
That
Ghost
transition,
Be
by
different.
the way, from the water to
stuff. So cool.
Yeah.
that the background World Between Worlds effect thing was such a smooth
I
transition.
think she's
It was
floating.
Really
Oh,
cool.
and then,
the-
no,
yeah.
she's
Just the look of the bridges on there were cool
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Looked very. I mean,
Yeah.
because like in the show, it's just two white lines
Right.
on each side.
Exactly.
But this with the animation, it looked kind of like the water.
It's very
like
cool.
when you step, it kind of glows.
Yeah.
It was cool. Really cool.
It was awesome.
Let's work backwards.
Yep.
We talked about World Between Worlds. Let's go back.
All right.
Right before that, we got the battle.
The battle.
Balin Ahsoka.
The
You got
dilemma.
the decision of Sabine. Force choke from Shin. That's kind of cool.
I think as soon as Sabine promised that Ahsoka could trust her, I thought she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
She believes. Yeah, you can
Yep.
trust me.
But in the
Yep.
moment,
But in the moment, that doesn't mean. I thought because they went out of her way for Ahsoka to stop and say, "Can I trust you?"
Mhm.
I thought this isn't going to
Ahsoka
pan out.
consent something.
Yeah.
well, then let's dive into that. Whose decision is correct? Which of those should they have done?
Sabine's decision was correct.
I also agree.
Yeah.
You do.
I do.
I think so. Because
Think about it.
Here's my
that's
thought.
always been the Rebels protocol on everything in the show.
Yeah.
Regardless of how bad the outcome might be, if we fail, we're not going to fail. We're optimistic.
That's right.
We
That's
also
always
don't.
been a thing. We don't leave people behind. We go out.
We
Right.
also don't preemptively do things out of fear of because something might, or we could say even likely bad is going to happen. I'm going to let my friend, and obviously Sabine's case, her best friend, who she's been missing from the
Yeah.
moment he left, who also happens to be a Jedi who could help in this battle.
Yeah.
Die. Now, again, it's not like I think Ahsoka's crazy for thinking what she's thinking either.
Yeah.
I get that because that's actually been.
Yeah.
I would argue that her stance on this has kind of been the Jedi philosophy for decades, like that. Actually, Anakin and Ahsoka, like this is actually Ahsoka not acting in the way that Anakin used to act, and that she learned from Anakin. It's like almost her pulling back and going back to the old Jedi ways.
Right.
After seeing
Because-
what happened with Anakin and
Yes,
the Empire.
because
Yeah.
Anakin
now-
used to, in this scenario, always say, "We don't leave anyone behind. We go." And if that means that we get in danger, maybe we die. Maybe it puts, maybe we're in a bad position as far as the war goes.
Yeah.
We don't let someone die. If we have a chance to save them, we always go. Now, because of the things that happened with Anakin, and because of how she's lost hope, because of obviously losing her master in that way, to me, it's understandable that she would take the opposite stance in this and be like, listen, I know how dangerous Thrawn is. Thrawn's the reason Kanan is dead.
Mhm.
Thrawn is the reason so many have died. And we have two dark Force users here, too, that with him and Morgan Elsbeth, like, this is bad if they all team up and they come back and they, get everyone together. So I understand Ahsoka's thought process, but Sabine also getting, I would just always say, listen, if we get Ezra back, we can still, now it's going to be harder, maybe, if Thrawn's back, but there's still nothing that says that we're going to lose to Thrawn. We have to now figure out a way to defeat
win.
Thrawn.
Yeah.
We don't, what we do know is if I make this choice, we're never seeing Ezra again. And then I
Yeah.
love the way that Balin goes, all right, no one's following us, and just puts the saber right
Saber
through
right
the
in
thing.
it.
That's right.
No. So I love the dilemma because to me, right when they started making that decision earlier, when they were fixing the ship and they're talking about this moment might have already come, like they might already be past the point of being able to go see him. I thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen here? We know this is going to, and then the way that they set it up well, where Sabine, first of all, it's the most emotion out of Rosario Dawson, out of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Where when Shin comes around the corner, she is Sabine, and because she assumes, well, Sabine's dead.
That's it.
Sabine's dead because Shin is there, and then she's like, I saw someone said it felt very much like, Isildur, cast it into the fire, destroy it.
It did.
It was like that moment of this, you couldn't
That's
do it.
exactly what I thought of when I was watching. I was like, oh, this is very Filoni. It's very Lord of the Rings. That moment.
I think in that moment it was interesting because Ahsoka's distance, normally the coldness is for safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was her attachment to Sabine that cost her.
Mm.
That was the distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Shin comes up,
That's the only
she's
reason.
distracted. Now she's not thinking about this. She's thinking about her.
Yep.
She even says Sabine.
And then when she
thinking
comes
died,
around
and then when she
again
comes-
and sees her, now she's looking at her. She's again not.
Yeah, now
and
she's. and
that's
then
it.
That's it. Then that's enough for him to overtake her.
So, in a way, Sabine, that connection cost Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it also saved her because without her, it would have been difficult. But also, given the scenario, I don't think Sabine. I think she was using the blaster on the map as a bargaining chip at that point.
Mm.
But once Ahsoka is gone, the bargain is over,
Yeah.
and the choices that she has are now limited.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Put yourself in her. I mean,
What if they go?
yeah.
They're going to kill me.
Yeah.
They're
They're
gonna
going to
kill me
bring
anyway.
Thrawn. They're going to kill Ezra.
Yep.
And Ahsoka's gone. I'm not going to be there. Ezra's. If I don't get on that ship,
Yeah.
no one's there to stop it. No one's there.
No one's there.
Yes.
I could get on the ship, save Ezra, and potentially stop. I might be stuck
That's
there.
the only
I
hope.
might
is
go
if,
with them and be stuck there.
the
But I
only
could
hope is
sabotage
if-
something to
if
not come back.
one of us has to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the
And I
moment when
think
she's
that was
doing
what
this
she's
too
thinking.
and
And
actually holding it out,
The odds are against her. She's
is there
not gonna
also
win
any
that.
doubt
Mm-mm.
once she pulls her blaster away from
That's
her,
it.
she's just holding it?
Yeah.
Is there any doubt that Balin also, if he wanted to, can just force
For
take that from
sure.
her?
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
So it's already
it's already gone.
the only
yeah.
your
It's
only
his.
play
Yeah.
here is to not go
Die.
down fighting and be killed in this
That's right.
moment, and to and see if he. And again, Balin's so interesting because Balin then Shin comes behind and starts choking her out of just
Balin,
vengeance, out
yeah.
of revenge. And he's like, I gave her my word. Like he does actually feel like he actually believes, that he actually. It's weird as someone who kills people and everything, but like that
No,
he
he
actually
has a
has
code.
He has a code.
He has a code.
Yeah,
And
he
I
has a
think
code.
part of it.
He's not just a ruthless killer
True.
to do it.
Mm-mm.
He does stuff that he believes is actually for
It's
the
a
greater
it's
good.
a
And I-
Kylo Ren kind of scenario where there is a reason, and it's not
Yeah.
it's not Morgan Elsbeth's reason. It's
It's different.
his
yeah.
reason.
And I do think his code in that moment is, yes, partly because he does seem a little different. He's shown some empathy for,
Yeah.
oh, I have to kill Ahsoka. It's a shame, There's
Mhm.
so few Jedi left. So he does seem to have somewhat of a code. I do think part of it though is also manipulation, because what he says after that is,
It is.
"Your master."
Unlike I
Unlike
keep
your
my
master, I
word.
keep my word. So
Yep.
it's like it's also a way. It's that dark side way of,
That's right.
I'll keep my word in this moment
Mm-hmm.
potentially because it's what's best for me and trying to turn you to our side.
Yeah.
Basically, like your master betrayed you, but I won't. I'm
Yeah.
better than that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of both. Part of it is his character and he wants to honor his word.
Yep.
Part of it is he's also still evil, and so he's using it as a tool.
How soon do they betray Morgan? How soon does that happen?
It doesn't
'cause-
seem like it
'cause-
seems like he's got
like-
his own mission.
Now
Well,
they're on
Shin
this-
has also already back-talked her. Like she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you almost got them. Thank you. We'll take it from
They're
here."
using her to get.
Yeah.
She's using them. They're
Yeah.
using
Yes.
her.
And he even
The
says,
question
he's
is,
like, I'm not
who's
doing
going to
this
turn
for,
first? Exactly.
He's like, I'm doing this for basically himself.
Mhm. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see, or even Morgan's actual connection with Thrawn.
Right. Once they get there, what
Like,
is Thrawn going to
What's
be?
Thrawn gonna? Okay,
Yes.
I don't.
Who
need
is
you.
it? Maybe it's both. Maybe he wants them all.
Yeah,
Thrawn would
yeah.
use any little.
Yeah.
piece.
Thrawn could totally,
Even Sabine, because that's a
He'll know Sabine.
that's a familiar face.
Yeah.
They've had some
could
discussions.
Thrawn totally also pull like a Voldemort type move of like, thank you Wormtail, like you're my slimy little servant and also you mean nothing to me.
That's
like,
right.
Morgan,
Yeah.
thank you for doing this and helping me get back
You
here.
have served.
Also,
yeah.
you've done well. And just like that's it. Like he'll pull like he did to Severus. All right, okay,
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Like, do we think at all like Thrawn's gonna be like, I would lay down my life for you, Morgan? No, he's
No.
like, oh, great. You really are. You care about bringing me back that much. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Good work.
Balin,
Well done.
take her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what Balin's end goal is, because obviously he says power, like beyond what you can imagine. But what does that mean for him? Like, where does it go? What's his end goal? Because obviously he's doing it for himself
Mhm.
at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see where it all goes and how that ties with their connection to Thrawn and what that power actually is.
Yeah.
Because it definitely seems like even though they are doing a good job of making Thrawn out to seem like this massive threat that he is.
Yeah,
They're
they're
doing a good job. I
building him
feel like
up.
of portraying that, like building that up to the audience, so that when this comes, it feels like, oh, this is a huge threat.
Mm-hmm.
But it just makes me wonder what it actually is, because it feels like Ahsoka at this point, with how big she's hyping up the threat, like, oh, this is going to be another world war that could end all wars, basically,
Yeah.
is what it feels like. But it seems like she knows more about his power of what could actually happen than the audience does yet. Like,
Yeah.
her level of fear for Thrawn's return and this war to come feels greater than what we've felt as the audience, I think. Like, they've made it out to be a big threat, but what does his return and the power that he brings actually mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the Emperor
Yep.
returning with the First Order or with the Final Order.
Right.
So it's like, I don't.
But it's feeling like that to them. Like
That's what I mean. It's feeling
Yeah.
like that to them, but we don't necessarily know what that means yet because we haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they're making us feel like, yeah, this is a big threat, but it definitely, from my point of view, feels like there's still stuff that Ahsoka knows how big of a threat Thrawn is that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Like, whatever power they're using to try to control things and manipulate and become this activate this war, we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. World Between Worlds brings an interesting element to this because you can be aware of things that you shouldn't know. We know that Ezra, the voice of Rey,
yes.
is there. So in the World Between Worlds, it is possible that someone knows that the Emperor is not dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's possible. You can see a scenario
Yeah.
where, he's not dead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you know that the threat of Thrawn, there's also the Emperor is floating around. It's just there's so much information that
Yeah.
it's a dilemma for a storyteller. How much can they know that now doesn't affect the past of
Exactly. That's
like
always
if
the
he
tricky
knew that,
thing.
why would he do?
Yeah. It's
It's
funny
always
you
the
say
tricky
that
So it's
about knowing, because I was watching this clip of Filoni talking about the World Between Worlds, and he says obviously this was something that we needed to expand on some of the Star Wars stuff, and so we swung for this is a cool concept, but we wanted to do it in a way that still holds the Force and George's idea of the Force and how it works to its root as well. Like, we didn't want to change the possibilities or the nature of what the Force is. But he explains that even though there's portals and Ezra sees these different moments in time, the World Between Worlds is not meant to be used as a doorway to a lot of different moments where someone can just go in the World Between Worlds, go out in a different time,
right.
affect things, and
And
come
come
back.
back.
It's not supposed to be
It's
a time
not supposed
machine.
to do that.
Yeah.
And he says the reason they kind of explained in Rebels that as Ezra's looking out at Kanan and he wants to save him, but Ahsoka says, you can't do that. Like, as hard as it is to watch this scene in time and feel like you can reach out and affect it and change it, we can't, because if we pull him out,
That's right.
Hera, everybody dies. Like, the outcome could be potentially way worse.
Yeah.
And so you're stuck looking at these moments in time without having to be able to affect it, because the world between worlds is a place where all of time exists, and it's a balance of the universe. So if Filoni says, like, if you are to go into it and to change that outcome, you're disrupting the balance, not just of the Force, but of the universe. You're disrupting this balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost used as a way to keep the balance of all things as they should be. But as far as utilizing it as a tool, it is meant for knowledge, not to go in and change and affect the future.
Yeah.
It's used as knowledge, because if you have the knowledge of what has happened in the past to learn from, or things that have happened in the future, rather than going to a different moment in time and changing things, you can go back to your moment in time and now that be what actually happened, because like you're still going back to your moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
You're just seeing the different outcomes of this stuff, and now you have that knowledge in the moment in time that you're from.
Yeah.
Which I thought, oh, that's an interesting way to put it. So like you're saying, the knowledge of the Emperor coming back, if Thrawn, anybody enters and knows the Emperor comes back at some point and they go back to their own moment in time, they can now be the one thinking, well, I could be the one that actually helps that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They make it happen because they know that it's possible. It's I mean, all time travel kind of stuff like that is.
It's
hard.
weird.
It gets weird to try to comprehend, but
We jump back to one. We skipped a part. What about the jump, the hyperspace jump
Oh,
yeah,
with Hera
goodness.
and
Yeah.
all the X-wings? Do we want to touch on that?
for sure.
Yeah.
I thought that I liked that Jason said I have a bad feeling, but he didn't say I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was a little bit of maybe insight into the fact that he's
Force
in tune with
sensitive.
the Force,
Yeah.
and he's I have a bad feeling, and then she's like, say about this, about this.
no, I
Oh,
like that.
I thought you were gonna say
Oh, I
something.
thought you were
Thought you were
going
gonna say something else.
No, I thought that it was very cool the way that they did, because we've
I
seen.
love that he's involved.
Yeah.
That's
We've
cool.
seen the.
Throw him in the
Yeah.
co-pilot seat. Let's go.
I know, really.
Mommy's got to
seen,
go to work. You got to come with mommy to work.
Chewie's like, I was 150 before I got my shot in the co-pilot seat.
Right.
Hera's like, what? It's kids at work day.
Kids, bring your
Kid to
bring
work
your
day.
son to
Come
work
on,
day.
Bring your green-haired kid to work day. This.
He was the only one.
He's
Weird.
the only one. Mom, I thought there'd be other.
Hey, I thought so too, sweetie.
Why am I just
Sorry.
hanging out with Mon Mothma all day? I thought there was gonna be children.
You and Greedo's kid. They're the only two here. Baby Greedo.
It's like, is that even hair? I don't. It's a scalp. I don't know.
I don't
His
know.
whole body.
Shh, he's sensitive.
I love the way that they did, because we've seen the Holdo maneuver,
Mm-hmm.
and that was interesting. Like going through, obviously the big starship and breaking through right there. This was cool, of seeing a fleet, seeing them, seeing the kind of terror in Hera's eyes, and she's like, oh,
She's gonna jump.
But
Yeah.
she's gonna jump, and we're right in front of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the collisions. My first things was Carson.
Carson,
get out of the way.
Carson.
Carson. Carson, get out of the way.
Get out of the
Get
way.
out of the way, Carson. But I thought it was cool. The boom. It knocked some ships. The collisions. I love seeing some X-wings. Obviously.
Yeah.
Even if it's X-wings blowing
In
up.
attack
unfortunately.
position.
In their glory.
Yep.
They pulled out
With
that
the
line.
S-foils in attack position.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Well, as soon as we saw Carson, I thought, who was the last person we saw with Carson Teva?
I know.
Yes,
That too.
exactly. Yeah.
Zeb.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
Maybe Zeb died. He was right. He was one. They didn't have the
Zeb.
budget for Zeb, so they're
They
like, we're
didn't.
gonna have this big explosion, and we're saying, oh, that was Zeb's X-wing. No.
I
Although is Zeb a Y-wing? I think Zeb's a Y-wing guy. I think so. Not
He's-
like him talking
he's
about
a
it. I think
ghost
that's
guy.
actually in. I think that's actually an episode. He flies a Y-wing.
I'm a Y-wing guy.
I draw. I like the Y-wings myself.
I think what you're saying is spot on. That moment was really cool. I like seeing the jump. I also like the like effects after. You can see it in the distance. It's like
Yeah.
it's still going. It made
Right.
it feel like, oh, that was a more powerful
For sure.
hyperspace jump.
For sure.
Like we see. I'm interested to see the other galaxy. Wherever they
I
go
know.
for the first time.
Do we
And now
get
we
that
get
another
next
galaxy?
episode, or is next episode all World Between Worlds?
I don't think it's all
think we
World
do.
Between Worlds. I think we'll see it.
I
But I do think it is mostly World Between Worlds. I also don't know how long the episode is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little longer because it feels like they need to get to a lot.
And it's Filoni's episode.
It's
he's
Filoni's
directing.
episode. I'm predicting it's going to be better than this episode. I think it'll be the best episode.
Well, thank goodness, because this one was just a.
I know they need to step
I'm
it
predicting it will be my favorite episode of the season. The next one.
Ooh, I'm
Big
For a
prediction.
couple reasons. One, it is Filoni's episode, so I do think we get a lot of
More Annie.
Anakin,
Right.
a lot of Ahsoka, World Between Worlds.
Give me some
But
Kitster.
they've also
maybe
Kitster's
some
right. I
Thrawn.
will this time.
the next episode is also being aired in select theaters around the country, which
Yeah,
makes
I
me
just see
feel
that
like
they announced
even
that.
they're hyping it up to be a big moment.
What?
They
big
announced that.
episode. So although we don't know what is going to be there,
This
I feel like
Friday.
they wouldn't do that unless
Yeah.
they were confident in that this is going to be an episode
And
you want to
nobody's-
see in theater.
Nobody's making movies anymore, so
That's true.
Yeah.
got to get
The
something out
theater's
there.
like. anyone-
So I
Did you
think
see this
Mhm.
Friday, Nate? I think they're releasing a special Master and Apprentice.
Yep.
Something between Anakin and Ahsoka, like timeline sort of a video thing. I think on Disney Plus
Yeah.
to
Wow.
build up that relationship even a little bit more for any of those. I
That
think
makes
it's smart
sense.
for anyone who
Yeah.
doesn't know.
That's true. Instead of
'Cause there's a
telling
lot of
everybody
people
to go
who are
watch Rebels,
watching-
just be like, hey, here's a synopsis of these two characters.
That's a good idea.
There's a lot of people who are watching the show that have heard them say, like you heard the Balin line. Everyone, they all knew Anakin Skywalker, but very few lived to see what he became. And like
Right.
people are like, why? Like
What?
there's some people who are like, why do they care about Anakin? We saw Anakin, we never saw Ahsoka. Like
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
haven't watched any of those shows, you don't have. It's not maybe as
Or even if you-
emotional in that final
Yeah.
scene. You heard them
Right.
say that. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I walked away from Anakin. She says these things
Yeah.
because it's supposed to clue you into the audience. Clue the
Yeah.
audience in. But if you actually get to see some of the moments
Yeah.
of what they actually went through together, what happens in the next episode, I would imagine, is going to be more impactful.
Yeah. I'm
So.
excited for it. I think one of my favorite moments too, and it was maybe a little bit earlier in the episode before Hera and them left,
Mhm.
was just seeing this shot in space of the New Republic, all the ships,
The
Yeah.
the
Yes.
fleet, seeing like the Rebel fleet,
Yeah,
like
there it is.
back in action with a ton of ships and stuff. It
Yep.
felt very like original trilogy showing up. It looked like they even filmed it in sort of that way with the really dark space
Yeah.
background, no planet behind it, just
The
showing
big
off
Mon
all the
Calamari
ships.
cruiser.
Yeah.
Mon
Yes.
Calamari cruiser, all
Yeah.
the original ships we've seen,
Right, it's awesome.
and seeing the transport like that. I saw that and I was like, that looks very original trilogy. It looks like the writing of that, of putting that in there was a good idea.
It's
I thought it was
awesome.
cool
Yeah.
because we know what they become when the First Order comes around. We don't see that until really even the last episode at the end. Even the
Right.
Rise of Skywalker isn't the fleet really; it's just
No,
people
Right.
showing up. So seeing that, I
It's the
thought was
Dunkirk
really,
moment.
really cool.
It is. It's
Yeah.
the Dunkirk
It
moment.
is the
I wanted to
Dunkirk
see. I wanted to see right when.
We
you
got
know, 'cause
Anakin Skywalker in the chat. Welcome.
Hey, welcome, Anakin.
He's all over the place. World Between Worlds.
Yes.
Hello, me. I expect to see
Oh.
you so soon.
Me.
In that moment, because you talked about the Mon Calamari ship, I wanted to, we go away from that, and then we show the whole Sabine moment, and she's like deciding to give it up, and I wanted to cut back and go, "It's a trap!" and just for a half a second, just show,
So here's
Someone
that-
needs to edit
just
that.
like, "It's a trap." I thought I heard something.
Well,
Never mind. He is just
Never mind.
baseball.
Here's your, it's the ball and Guardians.
Baseball.
Yes, I saw someone say
It's the
It
Guardians.
is.
It's the
it is the orb.
Power Stone
It's the
is
orb,
on the
yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
I saw someone say,
Dance off.
Uh,
Dance off
the-
to save the galaxy.
in like almost an Indiana Jones type of a moment of grabbing the thing,
Yeah.
grabbing the orb, the space ball
burns.
as I called it, and it burns.
Yep.
They Fräulein. Yeah, the
Mm.
the metal. But I saw someone go, well, maybe though, because she burned her hand, like the coordinates are on her hand.
They have it. They can still find
Coordinates
it.
on her hand, and I saw someone else say that is great, except that they did say very specifically, like, if we're one digit off, we all go to a different void of the galaxy and we all die. Like they're not gonna be like, move the skin. That's a 7, or is that a
Well, you know what
9?
happened. They
Is
were
that a 9? And we also have one part
They
of the
also-
ball.
I also love how
they're digging in the wrong place.
Morgan
So it
just
won't work.
if we're one digit off, we all die. Morgan goes, "All right, full steam ahead.
Here we go.
Who cares? Let's go."
I thought she was gonna go. That's close enough. We're only 2 off. We almost got it. Okay, go back.
I hate Snake Shock.
We're running
I
out of
hate
time.
'em.
What about the saber duel in the
Mara?
forest?
Hu Yang can really hold his own.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was a great fight.
you can go.
Perhaps it is time to throw down.
And they pulled out the Grievous arms.
And Merrick.
Oh man.
Merrick.
Can we talk about how I loved that he wasn't? It wasn't a big reveal that he was.
I love
Yeah, that was
somebody.
great.
I love
Because they didn't need.
Yeah, no,
they
no,
didn't need
I
to go.
really-
And
yeah.
here's Star Killer, and now we're gonna go 2 episodes on Star Killer and not see Ahsoka.
And that would
Like,
feel a
that
little
would've been-
fan service.
Right.
It also,
You would have had a lot of explaining to do if you introduced a new and
Yeah.
very important character there.
Right.
But I did love the surprise that
it made sense why he was an Inquisitor.
yeah, but he
Yeah.
was like,
Because they're like, oh yeah, they just found this.
how about
and
the
they
fact that he
night-sistered
was
him
like
and-
Night Sister magic?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
It's
just
not
he,
even a
he
not even a
withers away
person.
like the Witch King of Angmar or something like that
does.
when he's killed. I wanted to
Ahsoka's
see-
finish was.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
so great.
That was
We
such
all
a-
Hannah, my daughter, said, "Oh, I was hoping for a Kenobi moment."
Do you
That
guys,
was a
do you guys
Kenobi moment.
recognize
Kenobi
the stance? Was it
That was the
because
Kenobi
it
moment.
wasn't this,
It's very samurai. It was
It
just
was
over the
samurai.
head, split hands.
but it also reminded me of Anakin always would
Yeah.
always start his battles like when he's lunging after Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Just boom, he'd
Come with
saber
the
was
top.
right to the top of his
Yeah,
head, and then he'd start every time. So I thought, oh, she's standing there
that's
like
true.
this, ready, and as soon as she moves, he's going in.
It was the Kenobi
Awesome.
Mall moment, and it also was the Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi versus the Inquisitor moment. It's the,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
village is in trouble. This terrifying Inquisitor's coming over, and it takes her
Can't waste
that
time.
long to.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah. This one lasted a little bit longer just because they're like fighting a little bit first, but then once he pulls out like what he thinks is like his unstoppable move,
I know how to count
she
this.
centers
She's
herself
like, okay.
and then goes in between the cuts and just and she knows she gets him. Like how about
All right.
I love that when she gets him, she
You don't
still
turn
faces
around.
the other way,
Yeah.
and she knows like he's falling behind me.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool.
Yeah. I thought the encounter with Sabine and Chin was cool.
Sabine learned. She's learned some things already.
She's learned some
Mhm.
things.
Oh, the fake Force use.
The fake.
She tries to use it.
I
and
love
thought,
the answer.
oh, is she
you
gonna
have
do
no
it?
power. Yeah, you're right. I know.
And I
but
like that Shin kind of
You're
flinches
right.
for a second and then goes.
So do you think all these moments are hinting to her showing force power at the end of this?
I think they might be
Show.
going the other way, like reminding us that it's not about that for her. Maybe.
Could be, yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, she doesn't. In other words, where Ahsoka
Yeah.
would use the Force, Sabine has to use Batman.
Yes.
It's not Superman.
Exactly.
It's Batman.
Yeah.
You have the tools
Mm-hmm.
and the training to
Yeah.
fight. You don't have
You're
the
Mandalorian.
natural.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
What if they really
Maybe.
lean into it in like 10 different times? She's like, she's stuck in the
You
ice.
still have no. Darn it! You
there's
did it
a
again.
there's a wampa and she's hanging upside down. She's going, and then she just goes pew, grapple. And she's like, never mind. Like I don't need. I've got all
got
the
other
gadgets.
stuff.
Yeah.
I've got my bat shark repellent Robin. I don't know.
Robin.
Adam West.
I just
Cat
Hold
girl.
it, chum.
Cat girl. Oh, that devious girl. Please.
You're
Adam
getting
West is-
away. Hold it, chum.
Hold it, chum.
But they're right there.
I'm
Pal.
not sure
need-
what is up today, but I am going to slow my voice down. And then the school bus. It's raw. I don't know what's going on with that. but I don't know. It's the morning. Hope everyone's enjoying our morning show. I do like to
Is
be on
there
a morning
any,
show now.
Star Wars guys in the morning.
There's enough late night hosts. I don't want to be. I don't want people to say, Uncle Nate, Mike. It's just another Fallon. They're just another.
Just another-
Himmel.
Just
dare
another
I say,
Vine
dare I
there.
say, just another Jimmy.
or a Hope.
Of a hope.
Just
Or a
another Jimmy
Vines.
out there.
Just another Jimmy.
We got enough Jimmys.
Pines.
We'll have the talent of a hope or a bind.
Oh, like Amanda Bynes? What? Who's Amanda Bynes?
Okay, that's
You know she's from What a Girl Wants? Oh, I love that movie.
That's a backhanded comment, but if I'm Amanda Bynes, I would rewind that every day.
That's
Like,
the best.
I'm on the
Oh, I
office.
love that movie. Of a Bynes
Or a bind.
or a
That's so
Hope.
great.
And wigs.
Oh, it's so good.
Are there any moments or any?
Oh, there was
Any
an Easter egg in there. I
predictions?
read about it. I didn't see it. There was a
Ooh.
picture in the ship. Maybe that's a blurry picture posted on the ship in front of Hera.
Oh,
Oh,
I did not know that.
It's a guy with his hair pulled back.
Oh, her new boyfriend.
Her new boyfriend.
I am kidding. For anyone who has not seen Rebels, that's clearly Kanan.
Clearly Kanan.
Kanan.
He dates the same type
It's
of
a
guy.
blur.
Was it
always.
live action or was it
it's a blurry picture. You can just
yeah.
kind of go, wait a minute. That's
Wait, is that Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Hang on a
What
second.
is it?
Freddie
It's
Prinze?
Freddie Prinze Jr. with the
It's literally
hair
he's
pulled
wearing his green shaggy shirt and his
He's
hair.
with Sarah Gellar right there. They're together. Like, wait a second.
Is that Fred?
I,
Oh, it's just Fred
hang
from
on.
Scooby-Doo.
Just Fred.
They have him in his blonde hair and his
ascot.
Oh,
Like,
man.
look out, Freddy.
Like, look out. Like, they're going to hyperspace. Oh, man.
So
I
good.
love this
It
episode.
was great.
It was awesome.
I understand why it had to be. Well, I understand why the 2 parts now. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to. That's not one. That needs to be split.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
That's this in the way that it was told too, because it kind of picks up so fast, I think.
Yeah.
This felt like a much longer episode than I think
Yeah,
it
it
actually
did.
was.
It did.
Like when I checked at the end, I was like, "Oh, must be like almost an
halfway
hour."
through, I was like, "Are we gonna see the ship jump like we predicted it would?" And we did,
We
but
did.
there was so much more.
Remember last podcast
General.
episode, I said, "Oh, this will be the battle, the fight in the woods,"
Yeah.
because he even said, "Hunt them down."
Yeah,
And I was
Cue
like,
them
"Okay,
all.
this will be
Fight in the woods,
maybe
see
this
the
will
jump.
end
Fight
with
them. Yeah.
Balin and Ahsoka confronting and like meeting, and then the next episode will be them doing that and jumping, and then
No.
Peter Ramsey, the director, I believe the director of Spider-Verse, is who directed this episode.
Oh, really?
Um,
He did the about last 2 then.
did
Same
Peter
director
Ramsey do
did
the one
both.
before?
I heard
He
same
might
director
have.
did both
Oh, then that's him.
to keep it.
Um,
Wow.
I love the fact that that they got to these different moments that
Yeah.
I think we've officially now seen everything that was in the trailers,
Okay.
right? Except for
You got
the
no
except
power
for
was
except for Thrawn stepping into the
Right.
light when you see him at one point. But as
Yes.
far
Yeah.
as the moments, like we knew there was a lightsaber fight coming with Balin and Ahsoka because we've seen
yeah.
that. We knew that the Inquisitor and we knew the battle, the fight.
That
in
you
the
have no
woods was
power
coming.
moment we saw.
Knew
I
you have no
remember.
power.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no power. But I have this.
well, we knew Anakin was coming.
We heard that.
Well, we knew Well,
we haven't heard that.
we
that
we
dialogue
did
yet,
not know
but-
that
No, I'm
Anakin
kidding.
would be there in the flesh.
I know.
With
Do
his
you guys have
long
any
locks.
predictions for next episode before we wrap up?
Do we
I
think
think,
that
I
we're
think
not
we see Thrawn
next episode?
next
I
episode.
think so, too.
Ooh, Thrawn makes an appearance.
I think
We see
I think
that
so.
is
and potentially Ezra.
the moment we see at the end of the or in the trailer of him like walking from like out of the dark.
That's
and
it.
the thing, I think we'll see that. Close.
Yeah.
They emerge and he and Ezra are standing up and go, "All right, I'm up 1,003,0 in our checkers game that we've been playing because we've just been." And then no space whales. You can play the next game. It's just the other space whales.
And then they just jump out of hyperspace and they.
Like,
I
what
would
if
love
they
it if
get there?
Ezra's killing Thrawn at chess, just crushing
him.
How are you doing this?
Are you doing this? It must be the. He keeps making excuses. Must be rules must work different in a different galaxy. That's not how this works.
He's frustrated by it.
Yeah,
Oh, Yeah, I think we could see them. I
do think
mean,
we'll have a
I think
lot of
World
World
Between
Between
Worlds trippiness is coming next.
I think
Like
we're
some
gonna
really
see,
cool. Who
Yeah.
knows what Dave's gonna do?
I
with
think
this.
we'll see some cool moments in time between
and space
the two.
and wigs.
And I do think
Weird.
it's interesting because you touched on this a little bit earlier and we didn't get to it, so maybe we can wrap up with this. But the dilemma that Ahsoka is going to be dealt with, assuming this is Anakin, not Vader, it's actually Anakin,
Yeah.
young Anakin,
Mhm.
that Ahsoka could potentially be dealing with the lesson that she is trying to teach Sabine, and the same lesson that she taught Ezra when they were in the World Between Worlds.
Mhm.
Of as badly as you want to look at this moment in time and change it, we can't, and because we don't know what the repercussions are, could
Yeah.
be catastrophically worse.
Yeah.
And here's a moment in time where Anakin is younger, and she could tell him, this happens, beware of this, or even see this moment of time and be like, see, like I can change this moment of him not becoming Vader. The Empire doesn't rise, but she's going to be dealt with. Am I going? I have to sit here and watch this happen, see my master fall, knowing what happens. Even though I could reach out and change it, but we don't know the outcome of what happens if I do. We don't know if Luke and Leia never happen. We don't know if Luke and Leia turn to the dark side because of this later on. We
Then
don't
he's
know
not there
what-
to ultimately defeat. As bad as the
as bad as
destruction
it
that Darth
is, he
Vader
does
causes,
defeat. He does bring balance to the
Palpatine
Force.
was at his still peak
Mhm.
when Vader throws
Yeah.
him
So as
throws him over the
bad
edge.
as it is, Anakin still is the chosen one. He still is. It wasn't what they expected the prophecy to be, but he still is the chosen one. He still brings balance to the Force by defeating.
It's funny, Filoni uses the same phrases when talking
Palpatine.
about World Between Worlds, the balance.
The balance.
And here
Yep.
we find the one who brings balance, meeting Ahsoka in World Between Worlds.
Yeah. And so I think it's interesting that we might see that as part of the next episode
Mhm.
of Ahsoka having to deal with that dilemma. Whether it's a dilemma or just kind of like a heart-wrenching thing of like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
do anything. Like, I want to do something, but I can't. I have to let it happen, as bad as it is to let the Empire rise. I know the outcome is good.
Yeah.
And so,
We're
and
gonna
maybe
have-
she even sees the outcome of Rise of Skywalker.
That's right.
And
all the way.
sees this doesn't happen. None of that happens if we
Without
save
the fall.
Anakin. Like, without the fall. So,
I think we see
Rey
some
only
good-
gets to her final battle on Exegol because of what she learns from Luke, and because of Luke saves them on Crate. And there's all these different things that you pull Luke out of the equation, you pull Anakin.
And it's his
out of the
failure that
equation,
leads
that's
to
it. It's
that
this, to this, to
understanding.
this, to
Yeah.
this.
I think we get to see some good Sabine coming into her own.
Yeah.
That's going to be a part of it.
yeah.
I don't think she's got evil motives at all. I think
No.
No,
not evil
no,
motives.
no.
I don't even think it's completely selfish. I think
No,
there's
I think that she
I
just
do.
believes.
She realizes
that-
Oh, I
it's-
think it's the opposite.
it's up to me now.
I think it's the opposite.
I'm the only one.
She's not. It's the fact that she's being more selfless in the sense that, like, I want to save. It's not about her.
Yeah.
It's more like Ezra's out there. We gotta save him. But
We'll see.
I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
loved it. I do think next episode will be even better.
Man.
I'm ready for it.
All right.
We're halfway through.
I'm loving
Halfway
this show. I can't
through.
imagine people who haven't seen Rebels might really be wondering what's going on.
Yeah, I'd be
Not gonna
interested.
lie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they might be wondering.
Comment
what's
and
going
tell
on.
us if you're
But-
no Rebels. Comment no Rebels, no Clone Wars. Comment. Let
I'm
us-
going to enter the World Between
let us
Worlds.
hear.
Look at myself pre-Rebels. Pull myself out of that
and fix
and
it.
throw me into this, and then watch the show.
Tell yourself to
and
go
see
back
what-
and
see what
watch it.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm not.
I'm
gonna do
excited.
that. I can't do that.
I'm excited. Yeah, if you got questions about the timeline, how the World Between Worlds works, or what's going on because maybe you didn't see.
I think I
see
would pull
Rebels, drop
myself.
it in the comments.
I think I would pull myself out of the moment right before I started watching The Flash,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
say, redeem those 47 minutes that you made it through.
47
And do
minutes
something.
of a 2.5-hour movie.
Bake some
47
cookies,
minutes.
knit some mittens,
It was tough.
stare at the wall. Something that
You'd
provides
rather
value.
knit some mittens in the 100-degree weather right now instead of that.
If only I
Yeah.
could have watched that movie as fast as Flash could run. that would have been a waste of 9 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm being harsh. We're talking about Star
Okay,
Wars.
that
It's
was
good.
that was an
We bring
off-camera
hope to the
joke we're
world,
talking
not
This
about.
is a
Yeah.
great
It's
episode.
a great
Great
episode.
episode.
Love it.
Love it.
I
Hayden
love it.
is back again.
He's back.
again.
He's back. Nate, where can the people find us?
Here on YouTube, also on Instagram at Star Wars Guys
Come
Pod.
on over.
Let
Right
us know.
here.
You always can reach out to us with
Come on
questions.
over.
Either drop them here in the comments on YouTube or message us on Instagram. Again, that's at Star Wars Guys Pod. If you got questions about the show or just you want us to cover certain topics or things, maybe in the future when we're not covering, different shows like Ahsoka, let us know. And we'll address those. We'll maybe even make episodes out of them and make sure to answer any questions you guys have. If you made it this far, thank you. And why?
Let
Why
us
you
know.
this far? No,
Like, seriously, why?
Flash is
we're
streaming
generally
now.
curious. No, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. And tell a friend about us here at Star Wars Guys. If you like the podcast and the YouTube channel, every reference to bring people over to the channel helps. So bring your friends, bring them all. And we'll see you guys next time. And as always, may the Force be with you.
I should have known the Jedi were plotting to take over. Snips told me about this. Oh no, it's coming to fruition. I'm turning bad. Would have been the moment. He's, I can't.
That's a World Between Worlds
Resist
quote. It
the
hasn't happened yet.
That's it.
It's coming.
Not
I'm quoting
Force
that.
joke.
Force
Force
choke.
joke.
Sorry.
Hello,
my
Snips. Hello, Snips. Goodbye, Anaheim. I finally got to go back and, I guess this is what I do now. I'm back
Anaheim.
in Star Wars.